Welcome everyone to the eMedica AKT Pass Guarantee Program orientation for the 90-day program for the April 2024 exams. So the point of today is a chance for you to meet the team, have a clear idea how does the Pass Guarantee Program work, how do you submit your weekly tasks, how do the daily tasks auto-submit, a chance for you to ask any questions you want. So let me just start with a really important message, that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And, sometimes it can be overwhelming when you think about AKT because it's such a big curriculum and there's so much work to do. A lot of people just get lost with where do I start? So well done on taking a first step and joining a structured program where our team are here to guide you every step of the way. So, you're here now. You've taken that first step, and that's the hardest step, to begin something. And now all you need to do is each day focus on the daily tasks, get the work done that you need to get done that day. And one step at a time, we're here, you're going to climb the mountain. And 90 days from here, the day before the exam, you're going to look back, you're going to be amazed how much work you've covered, because over 225 hours of work, over 4,500 questions we will have covered, all the key topics, the key techniques, you're going to be ready for this exam. But on each day, all you need to focus on is not how big is the mountain and how long is the journey, just one step. That's all you need to do. So well done on taking that first step, okay? So let me just do an introduction and get you to say hello to some of the team. So for those that haven't met me, my name is Muhibur Rahman. I'm a portfolio GP and the medical director of eMedica, and I've been running eMedica since 2005. I did my GP training in Neath Port Talbot in South Wales and passed my MRCGP with merit back in 2007. I was awarded fellowship of the Royal College of General Practice in 2019 for my work in medical education and humanitarian medicine. I'm one of the authors for Questions for the Prescribing Safety Assessment. I've written various books and edited books and articles on MRCGP, AKT, CSA, RCA, and now SCA. I was an examiner and invigilator for the GMC for the PLAB 2 OSCE, and I continue to examine for Liverpool Medical School finals, and I'm on the NICE GP reference panel. And I'm just going to fast forward. I'll come back to Masuda and Anna, but because Dr. Kennedy is at work today, I'm going to fast forward to Dr. Kennedy Umej, who's our AKT mentor. He was in your shoes a few years ago. He completed the Pass Guarantee Program, one of the earlier versions of it, scored 95% overall, and has since continued to work with us as the mentor, primarily through, there's a WhatsApp group specifically for your group that you'll be invited to join the day before the program starts. So on Wednesday, you'll get an email with a link to join that, okay? And Kennedy is now qualified and is doing many other things as part of a wonderful portfolio career, but he continues to be the mentor, but he's been through it. He knows what it's like. So I'm going to hand you over to Kennedy. Kennedy, if you want to say hello.
Hello. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Kennedy. Go ahead.
All right. You're all welcome to this 90-day Pass Guarantee Program. And that was exactly the one I did. I did the 90-day program. It can be quite challenging, but there is nothing good that comes easy. Just know that nothing good comes easy. Success does not come on a platter of gold. So you've got to give, you have to give to receive. And what you need to give is your time, your commitment, your energy. And it's possible. I know you probably will hear so many stories about how difficult the AKT is. No. When you hear such stories, just know that you can do it. And what it takes is make sure that you keep up to date with your daily work, keep up to date with your daily tasks. If you need, do focus on your Q banks questions that we send to you every day. The ones you don't know, research on it. The more in fact, most times I learned more from the questions I failed. So the questions I get asked all the time is that, oh, I'm scoring low in the question banks. No, the target is not to score well and make us happy. No, the target is learn from the questions. The questions are a bit hard, but it's for your learning. And I will be in the WhatsApp forum to support you. I'll be there to kind of, share my approach to the exam. Scoring 95% is possible. It was hard work. I learned along the way, did my work. So I'll be there to support you. But what I'm trying to let you know now is that I want you all to write the score you want to get from the AKT. Let it be what you get from me. And that's what I exactly did. Write that score and paste it on the wall of your room and look at it every day. Don't go average. Aim for a very high score, and then you may come close to that. All right, I'll see you in the WhatsApp forum.
Thank you very much, Kennedy. Nice to see you. I'll leave you to your shift. Thank you for joining us. Okay, good. So that was Kennedy Umej, who will be supporting the group through the WhatsApp group. Okay, let me introduce you to the rest of the team. So Masuda Rahman is the Director of E-Learning at eMedica. She's part of the faculty for all of the talk courses and webinars, helps to oversee the quality control of our questions, manage our different authors and doctors that work with us to make sure we have high quality materials, and it will be faculty at the different courses. So I'll hand you over to Masuda, who's going to say a few words.
Welcome everyone to the Pass Guarantee Programme. We are going to be spending a lot of time together over the next 3 months. You're going to be surprised how quickly we're going to become part of your daily routine. You're going to be surprised how quickly those good study habits and your knowledge base is going to grow. Now, we may not be seeing you face to face, but we will be seeing your work come in every day. We're going to be seeing you online for webinars. We're always surprised how quickly we get to know you and how quickly we get attached to each new class. So really, I'm just here to say today, remember, it may not be easy. As Dr. Umej said, learning takes effort, and sometimes it can feel quite hard, especially actually when you're learning the most, it can feel quite difficult. Please remember, you're not alone for any of this. We're all here to support you. Please get involved in your study group. Please ask questions on the webinars, email us. However you want to access our support, that is what we are here for. We're here to support you. We're going to be watching your progress every day, right up to the exam. We're going to be thinking of you on the day of the exam. We're going to be waiting with you on the edge of our seats for those results to come in. Remember, whatever happens, we're here.
Thank you very much, Masuda. Okay, and then let me introduce you to Anna Greathead. So Anna is a core member of the eMedica e-learning team, will also be faculty for all of the courses and webinars. She's also the learning mentor and the main admin for the PGP WhatsApp group. So Anna will be a point of contact along the whole journey. I'll hand you over to Anna, who's going to share some tips.
Hi guys, echoing what the other people have said, really looking forward to working with you through this programme, getting to know you, really feeling like we're in it together. I have 3 things I say at the beginning of every cohort, and I really would like you to, try and internalise this because it's important. Commit to this programme. It is difficult. It's a difficult and challenging programme. If you fall behind, it becomes almost impossible to catch up. So although I know that you're busy and I know that you get tired at the end of the day, always make sure you've done your work, your daily work, as Dr. Omege said. 20. I'm going to do those 20 questions. I'm going to read those extra few pages. I'm just going to make sure that I've submitted those things, because falling behind really does compromise your learning. And the second thing is to get organised. It's amazing how many people lose a lot of time because they remember there was a teaching slide about it, or there was an email about it, and they can't remember where it is. So if you come across a document that you think this is going to be useful, print it out and file it. Put it in a special folder on your laptop so you can find it again. There's a resource page linked every day. Dr. Rahman's going to show you about it. Please get familiar with what's on there because it's an absolute goldmine of useful stuff for you. And it's so frustrating for us when people only discover it right at the end of the programme because they've missed out on all those opportunities. And the final thing, and this has been alluded to particularly by Dr. Kennedy, is trust the process. At the beginning, you will not get scores that you want to get, but that's because you're learning. And as he said, you learn far more from questions you get wrong than from questions you get right. So, as I said, looking forward to working with you and looking forward to sitting on the edge of my seat and receiving all of those I passed my AKT emails in a few months' time.
Thanks very much, Anna. So right, back to the rest of the talk. So you've already met Dr. Kennedy, and let me introduce you to some of the other members of the team who aren't here today, but you will get emails from, or sometimes you might contact the office and they will send things to you. And some of them have already sent out your welcome packs, for example. So these are some of the other members of the team that you might get things from. So Selina Begum, Tuba Jamil, Jubaida Khatun, Rabia Hussein, Laura Smith, and Rebecca Begum. So let me explain how the program works. So it's called the 90-day program because every single day for the 90 days from when we start on Thursday, right up until the day of the exam, you're going to get an email which will guide you exactly what learning do you need to do that day. Okay. So the email will hit your inbox by 5 a.m. Okay. So it will contain a link to a question of the day and associated reading for that particular topic, a set of online revision questions, and 2 when it's the weekend. Reading, So from different official sources or reliable sources, like the Oxford Handbook of General Practice, NICE CKS, things like that. There will be sometimes links to specific learning exercises, like there might be some videos of workshops with associated questions to do. Those are often part of the weekly tasks. So when you get the email, there's a set of daily tasks. Those have to be completed within 24 hours, i.e. before the next email hits. But there'll also be weekly tasks where you've got longer period, usually about a week, sometimes slightly longer than a week. There'll be a specific deadline mentioned in the email. That might involve videos, different exercises, different online revision questions from sources like the RCGP self-test, but also knowledge challenges, okay? All of these things have been planned in a way that by the end of the program, we will have covered all of the key topics. We will have covered some of the high yield topics more than once, but without repeating a single question. So we'll cover some topics more than once, but each time it'll be a different question when we cover important topics, so that by the end of the program, you haven't just learned questions off by heart. That's not the purpose. You've learned subjects, but you've also developed your technique. You can manage your time, you know how to spot keywords, so that when you get to the exam, you can go in confident that I've covered the things that I need to do. I know how to approach the exam. I know how to manage my time and myself and my mindset in the exam, and you'll be confident when you walk into that exam, okay? So core text for GP training, the Oxford Handbook of General Practice, it must be the 5th edition. Most of you already have this because people usually buy this in the first year of training. If you don't, or if, you know, some of you, if you're training less than full time, if you're taking a break from training, you might actually have bought one right at the beginning and it was the 4th edition. The 4th edition is no good. The 5th edition was published 2020. So even within this, there are some things where guidelines have changed since. Now, use this as a base. If guidelines have changed since, when we do the taught part, and it's an important guideline, don't worry, we will highlight what's changed. So you'll see the latest guidelines throughout the teaching. But if you still don't have the 5th edition, someone will post this link into the group. You've still got time. If you order it today or tomorrow, it will still arrive by the time that the program starts on Thursday. Okay, Amazon have it for next day delivery. And it's really important that you track your progress because there is so much to do. We've structured it so that, you know, you only need to focus on a little bit at a time. But it's important that you enjoy the little wins. So you've got things like your daily progress tracker in your welcome box. And those of you that signed up, some of you signed up this weekend, for example, your welcome box is in the post because we sent a whole load out today. But, you know, you haven't got it yet. Don't worry, it will be there, okay? What you'll see is this is on the back of, there's a postcard with that image, and that journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step quote. On the back of that is this progress tracker. Stick it on a notice board so it's visible. Each day, when you've finished all of the things on the daily task, tick the box. Okay? Don't tick it just when you open it. You know, you've done everything. Now tick it. Okay? So, you know, each day ticking is really satisfying. But when you get to the bottom of this, you think, oh, you know what? Yes, I'm making progress here. I'm on day 22. When you get, I'm halfway now. When you get, I'm nearly in that last period, okay? You know, that last few weeks. And then when you get here and you see this whole thing is full of ticks and you're finished, there's a huge sense of satisfaction. There's also a printed curriculum checklist where we've taken about 600 or so of the important topics from the full RCGP curriculum and separated them into clinical, evidence, so stats, and organization or admin domain. And we've listed them with an actual checkbox, because if you take the actual curriculum from the RCGP, it's like 200 and something page document, right? This is 36 pages A5. And each day when you've, you know, finished a topic, tick it. Again, when you start, it's completely empty, right? There's not a single tick. And you'll see that you'll be ticking different things at different points, because we'll do some stats, some clinical, some admin throughout. We don't leave the admin and the stats right to the end, for example, okay? We'll be doing a little bit of everything throughout. But again, the day before the exam, when you look back at, you see that every single topic in every single page of this booklet is ticked. That's going to give your confidence such a boost that you know you're prepared, because you can see it. You can see the evidence in front of you. Look at this. I've covered every single one of these important topics from the curriculum. I'm ready for this exam. Okay. So, you know, enjoy the win, ticking it off. And then, as Anna mentioned, there's the resources page. Okay. So at the bottom of every email that we send you, and I'll show you one of the emails in a minute, but at the bottom of every single email, there will be this link which says resource page. Okay. When you click that and you log in, it will take you to the resource page for your cohort. Now, when you begin your cohort, all it will have on it are links to some useful resources, but it won't have any of the videos yet. Okay. Apart from the video of orientation. But you see, every time we have a live session and we've got 5 high yield webinars, we've got 2 longer clinical webinars, we've got a half-day stats, a half-day admin, got a full-day AKT course, a full-day AKT 200, then the videos and the booklets will automatically be added to the same resource page. You don't need to contact us. You don't need to ask us for a copy of the record. It will just appear as soon as it's processed, and it will stay there right up until your exam. And there'll also be a reminder of the next live session. So you see in this first email, so the next live session is on the 31st of January. You've got the time there, okay? So let me show you, for example, this is the resource page for the January cohort. They're going to sit their exam on Wednesday, okay? So you can see yours at the beginning, it will just have a link to the orientation video, a link to your timetable, the curriculum guide, some links for all of our questions in terms of reading, additional material, some sample topic reviews, you know, this is all that will be there at the beginning. But after we've had the first high yield webinar, which for you is on the 31st of January, the video will appear here and you'll be able to download the booklet from here. After the second one, the video will appear here. You'll be able to download the topic review. After the full day AKT course, you know, the video will be here. You'll be able to download the course booklet and all the topic reviews. After the third one, after the stats webinar, the admin webinar, the high yield clinical crammer 1 and 2, the longer ones, the full day AKT 200 course, the high yield, you see, all of these things will appear on your resource page. So at the start, yours will be fairly empty, but it's really important that you're familiar with this button at the bottom of every email, because the link that this goes to, and you'll need to log in to access it, will automatically update so that at any point you'll be able to watch back any of the recordings, go over all of the notes, you know, everything's there for you, okay? So it's at the bottom of every email, this big green button, okay? At the beginning, it will just show these things. And then, as I said, you know, after we've done this at the end of January, this will appear. In February, we'll do this one. Then that will appear, okay? Early on in February. Later on in February, we'll do the full day AKT course. Then that will appear, and so on, okay? So let me show you what an email looks like and how your daily task will automatically be submitted, but also how you submit your weekly task, because you need to do that specifically. First, before I do that, 2 other reminders about email. So it's really important that you get our emails, right? So please add info@emedica.co.uk to your safe list or white list, sometimes it's called in some email providers, so that it doesn't end up in spam. And what I recommend you do is you set up a specific folder, so every email you get from us, you put it in one place so you can find it easily afterwards, okay? So if you ever want to go back over things, you've got them all in one place, all right? And at the bottom of every email, there's a link here and there's a link here that will allow you to unsubscribe. And that's because this is part of good email management. You know, we want to have a good, what's called an email provider or sender reputation. And so like all our emails are digitally signed so that, you know, it recognizes it's coming from eMedica. It's not coming from a random spammer, for example. But we don't ever want to send an email to someone that doesn't want to have our email. And so if you click this button, you will be unsubscribed. You won't get any more emails from us. And we won't be able to automatically add you back in, because if we just add you back in someone that unsubscribed, this gets picked up by the big email providers that this is dodgy behavior. Someone's unsubscribed and someone straight away put them back on the list. That's what a spammer would do, okay? So we'll only be able to add you back if you email us and say, I'm sorry, I've unsubscribed. But we can only do that a couple of times, because if we do that too many times, your email provider will say this is dodgy behavior, and it just will block you from being added back. You go on something called a suppression list. We just won't be able to add you back, okay? So only click this unsubscribe link or this unsubscribe link if you genuinely don't want any more emails and want to leave the program, which is not something you want to do. So please don't unsubscribe unless you really intend to do so, okay? So there and there, do not click these. Right, let me show you the emails and then we'll go through these keys to success. So look, the first email you're going to get is going to be on Wednesday, because the program starts on Thursday, and it will say welcome, and there'll be a recording of this webinar for you to watch back if you want to, okay? And so there'll be a link to watch this back. There'll be a link for you to join the WhatsApp group, okay? We can't add you to it. Please use this link. You add yourself, and there's a link to do some reading even before we start, okay? What I'll do, for those of you that are here today, if you want to if you've got some time even before we get to the start of the program, if you want to start doing some pre-reading, you can. So let me put that there for you. Okay, that's the reading that you need to. This reading is from the Oxford Handbook. There's the specific pages to read, and it's just to give you some background so that when you start doing the first set of questions, you've got some familiarity. It won't cover every single topic. It won't cover every single question. It's to give you some base. And we will flesh out, because every time you do a question, there'll be an explanation for you to read. There'll be links in some cases. And then, we'll have teaching at all of the talk sessions. Okay. And then look, do you see the link to the resources page? There isn't a set of questions to do because this is not the actual first email. This is like the pre-email. It's just a welcome. Remember, before this, you have got 4 hours of pre-course learning. The How to Pass the AKT webinar recording, there's 4 hours of teaching. That's pre-course. You must have finished that before Thursday, before we start. Okay? So that's the welcome email. Then the rest of the emails will follow this format. So this is the day 1 email. Okay? And what you do, basically, you've got a set of buttons. You go through them and you work through it. So on this one, there's a welcome exercise where you'll put your name, you'll put your email, and you're going to list 5 topics that you have found challenging in the past, but they need to be specific. So for example, it's giving you an example here. You can't put ENT because you can't cover ENT in one day. It needs to be a topic you can do in a day. Whereas many years you can learn in a day. And then part of your weekly task for the first week is you're going to start reading up and producing topic reviews, and examples of what those look like are on the resources page. Okay, so that you start covering some of your weaknesses right at the beginning. There'll be a link again to the orientation video in case you want to watch this back, another link in case you didn't join it the first time to join the WhatsApp group, and then the main layout, which then will be followed in every. These are only there in the first one. After that, everyone will have a question of the day. So when you click that, put in whatever email you use to register. I'm going to put info at eMedica because this is also the email. If you've got any support queries, this is our main email. Okay, so you put in your email, you answer the question, click next, you'll see if you got it right or wrong. There's an explanation for you to read to do some learning, and there'll be a link to the relevant guideline for you to read up so that you're reading up the latest and update, guidance on it. Okay, so once you've done that, then you've got a link to a set of questions. You need to log in. I've already logged in. That's why it's brought me here. So here we're doing cardiovascular. Once you start the quiz, you've got to put your name in and your same email that you use every time. So I'm going to put our email just as a reminder. You're going to put your email. And once you've submitted that, you work through your questions. When you answer it, if you get it wrong, after you've read this, if you still feel that I need to get a bit more reading, there's some links for further reading back on the resources page. You could read up about the topic, okay, in more detail about certain topics. Or you could just read up about it, from the Oxford Handbook, find a relevant, nice guideline. If you get it right, it's probably enough for you to read the explanation here, okay? So once you get through to the 20th question, once you've answered the last one, it will you don't have to press submit. You can press it and it will give you your total score for that block. But once you've answered that last question, it will automatically send us. And because you've put your name and email, we can match up and we can track your progress. And this is really important because one of the things that we do is we track data for each of you individually throughout the first part of the program, so that in the last part of the program, each of you will get an individual guided learning plan, specific to your areas that you scored less well in from data we've gathered throughout the program. Okay, that's why it's important you use the same email and same name every time so that we can allocate it correctly. Okay, then there's details of the case cards to read. Now, those of you that haven't got your printed card, which are in your welcome box, you can access the digital ones. Okay, so once you log in, it tells you this is day 1. So we're doing card number 1 and 2. So you'll be able to read card number 1 and 2. Okay. And then it's got details of your weekly task, which is to create the topic reviews for whatever you identified as your areas of weakness. And it's got a deadline for that. Now, for the weekly tasks, once you've got them ready, you click this, put your name, your email, and you'll be able to upload it. You can see you've got 5 little boxes for each of the 5 topic reviews. Okay. Examples of topic reviews are available from the resource page. Look, when you click the resource page, can you see there's some examples there of sample topic reviews? You can download them and have a look. You could do it handwritten on a piece of paper. You could do it as a little PowerPoint if you want, whatever you want. Okay, it's for your learning. One side of A4. Okay, is the maximum for one topic review. It needs to fit on one side of A4. Right, if I just stop that in the background. Again, can you see there's a reminder of the next live session, 31st January, make sure that's in your diary. And then there's the reading to do to start preparing for the next email. I guess you're going to read this before the next email comes, okay? Again, this is the unsubscribe. You do not want to press this, okay? So you just basically start at the top of the email, work your way down, and just do all of the work. The daily tasks, once they're done, they automatically submit. And because you put your name and email, we'll match it up. The weekly tasks, there's a set deadline. So this one is the 3rd February, and you need to click it and submit it. Again, you need to put your details, okay? So that's how it all works. Now, 3 keys to success. The first is that mindset matters, makes a huge difference, okay? So you can have what's called a growth mindset, or you can have what's called a fixed mindset. The good news is you can change from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. So, you know, to succeed, we must first believe that we can. That's part of having a growth mindset, is that you start, your base thought should be, I am going to pass this exam. Because if right at the beginning, your first thought is, there's no way I can pass this exam, the minute you struggle with a topic, your brain shuts down and doesn't want to absorb the learning. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You end up failing because you've decided you're going to fail. You make yourself fail. Whereas if you start with, I'm going to pass this exam, in fact, I'm going to smash it. So you have that belief in yourself. Then if you struggle with the question, you think, you know what, I'm glad that I've realized that this is a topic that I actually haven't learned properly. Let me read it now. Let me practice some more questions. Can you see? It will spur you on and help you to actually achieve that success. So you need to start right from the beginning with the thought that you're going to pass this exam. That's because if you do the work, you will. You will be prepared and you will pass. Because we've already created the structure that everything you need is there. The next thing is to be consistent. You must do your daily tasks before the next day hits. Now, some days that's going to be harder than others because you've got on call or you've got, you know, a busier shift. Okay, that is what it is. All right, the 90-day program is really intense. In that 90 days to cover 225 hours, we can't say, look, have a couple of days off here and there. Just doesn't work. There's too much material. If you want to cover it, you've got to be consistent. So what that might mean is some days, if you know that, you know, you're going to have a busy shift, you might get up a little bit earlier and try to get some of your work done before you even go to work. If you get a bit of a break, you might say, you know, I'll do the case cards when I get a break. I'll take them with me. And then even though you're tired, before you go to bed, when you come back, you might finish it off. On other days, if you know, okay, you know, I haven't got on call today, I'm going to get back at a reasonable time. Okay, fine. So you might not do as much before you go, and you might think, I'll do it later. What you normally find is after about a week, people have their rhythm and they have, you know, found a way to fit it into how they get through the daily tasks. And then don't forget the deadlines for the weekly tasks. You've got to be consistent. And that's because the learning builds. Some of the things that we do earlier, some of the techniques, some of the things, you know, later on, we're going to cover things later that if you haven't done the learning earlier, it's going to make it really challenging for you. Okay, so you've got to be consistent from the beginning to the end. And then really important that you focus on the learning, not your scores. I'll tell you now, most of you will get most of the daily questions, the questions of the day, wrong. It's because they're hard questions. The purpose of them is to help you learn. There's science behind this. We remember better those things that we associate with a negative, with a failure, than those things we associate with a success. So i.e., when you do badly on a question and then you read up about it, you remember that because you did badly and you don't want to do badly next time. Whereas you do a whole lot of questions well, you don't remember them as much. That's why when people come out of an exam, they remember the few questions they struggled with. They don't remember the 100 and something that they, you know, were comfortable with. Okay. So similarly, our e-medical questions on the online questions that you're going to do, remember you're going to do a set of questions every day. On weekends, you'll do more. Okay. Those are deliberately at the hard end of questions that you're going to see at the AKT. So again, you might get really poor scores, especially in the beginning and the middle of the program, when you haven't done a lot of the talk content yet. Understand, and this is where the mindset's really important, that if you have a growth mindset, every time you get a question, you see, I'm glad that we're covering this topic because the fact I got it wrong, I clearly don't have a handle on it. It's a good opportunity for me to learn. Because if we just did things you already know, you're wasting your time joining the program, aren't you? If you're just covering things that you already know. If you only cover easy things, we're not helping you. Yeah, you might feel good, oh, I get them all right, but when you get to the exam, you won't be prepared. Our job is to prepare you, right? And so your scores are not important as long as you're consistent with the work, and that when you get a poor score, when you get something wrong, you learn from it and you see it as an opportunity to learn, that it stimulates you to learn. Okay. Ultimately, we cover more than you need to just pass the exam. We want you to learn things that are going to make you a better clinician. They're going to help you for SCA. They're going to help you when you qualify as a GP. Okay. So that's really, really important. Positive mindset from the beginning. Be consistent in doing your work, and then focus on the learning, not your scores. Okay. The scores will come right when you get to the exam. As long as you do the learning, you will be ready. Okay. So that leaves me to see if there's any other questions that the team haven't already addressed. Please ask them in the Q&A, not the chat. And for those that haven't got questions, I remind you again that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and you've taken that first step. And I want to really say, welcome to the program. Thank you for putting your trust and your faith in myself and the eMedica team. We're all here to support you. Yes, you've got 1,000 miles still to go. Do you see? You've taken the first step. And while we're going to break it down step by step, you still got to go 1,000 miles. That's hard. So it is hard work. That's because it's a hard exam. And so you need to put the hard work in, but we will be with you to guide you every step of that way. Okay. And so, we're here to support you from now all the way to your exam and beyond. So for those that haven't got questions, thank you so much. Welcome to the program. Remember, do your work, be consistent. You will be prepared. You will succeed. Okay. You will pass. Thank you so much. Have a great evening. And I look forward to, the start of the program with you on Thursday.